Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better brace yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight. What do I mean by that? I mean, I only speak to transportation professionals on this show, you guys. I only want to talk to individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, to put the right information out there that you can apply, utilize, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. It's one of the many reasons why I proudly fly this American flag behind me every single day. A, we're the greatest nation on earth, but B, I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you live yours as well. We got a solo show today. I got a guest coming on here later on this week, and then as always, Fridays, you guys, is designated Q&A day. So any questions you have for sales and operations related things in the transportation industry, drop them in the chat or DM them over to me, get them over to me, and I will answer them live on the show on Friday. If you got something pressing, you can drop it in there today. I'll answer it on there, but I like to designate shows, specifically for Q&A and everything like that. But we can answer them live on the show because, frankly, it's my fucking show. I can do whatever I want. Before we get any further, as always, you guys got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub, vhubapp.com. Whether you're a broker, carrier, or a shipper, we all need access to trailers at some point in time. And for my small fleets, owner ops, you never have to shut your operation down now if you have a trailer in the shop, and you can get paid to move these. You can also create a drop trailer pool and sell an enterprise level solution to those enterprise level shippers that you might be going out after as well, because they need trailers, right? They need drop trailers, and you can do that now. So what they're working, they got Staunton, Wisconsin going to Milton, Ontario, and you get $350 US per trailer to move that, you guys. And again, you can snag it out of Staunton. You can bring it to Milwaukee. You can bring it down to Chicago. They just got to end up over in Milton, Ontario. They also have Chattanooga, Tennessee going out to Clinton, Oklahoma, and you get $600 US per trailer to move that. And then the San Diego, they got a bunch of trailers out of San Diego, you guys, as you know, and it ranges everywhere from like $1,100 to $2,200 per trailer. And what they do is they go all over to Indiana, Tennessee, Texas, North Carolina, Illinois, Minnesota, you name it. They're literally going all over, you guys. And then finally, they got Paragould, Arkansas going up to Mississauga, Ontario. And again, you get like $750 US or $736 US, per trailer to move that, you guys. They got about 140 of those there as well. And again, you can move those out and around to drop them at one of your customers' facilities. And so hit them up, you guys, vhubapp.com. My friends Xavier Campos, Stacy Steen, Zach Lonergan, they'll all be in the audience. Just do me a favor. Let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. Tracy St. Clair, good morning. She's watching over on YouTube. Sunny Sharma, good fucking morning. He was on yesterday. Carla Isted, good morning. Good to see you, Carla. David Nelson says good morning. He's watching over on YouTube, and then said good green show. Yeah, man, we're always going green over here. Yeah, and he's watching over on YouTube. And again, you guys, if you are watching this over on LinkedIn, I have heard from multiple people that YouTube, the streaming quality, the video, the audio, everything is better over on YouTube. So jump over to that platform. And then just search for the Freight Coach. That's my YouTube channel over there. And you can get that. And then also, we do the audio only replay of this up, which will be uploaded on iTunes and Spotify almost immediately after the show. Mark Groves in the house. What's up, my man? Mark's with Port TMS. You guys hit him up. Port's got one of the best products on the market. And Sean Gengler, what is up? Morning, sir. Thanks for tuning in. Diesel is continuing to drop, which is great to see. It's like down 5 cents from last week, and it's at $3.79 a gallon. And then I get all this information from the EIA, you guys. And from there, we're down like $1.90 a gallon year over year, which is fucking huge. It's always great to see when they decide to not change our prices on us so much. And it's good to see it's trending in the right direction, because that brings a ton of reprieve at the pump. obviously for our drivers and everything. And again, you guys, I get this stuff from the EIA. And this is just one of those things. If you're like an owner op, and you're getting offered like line haul plus fuel pricing and everything, this is a great tool for you to utilize to help budget out and see what your tools or what your fuel price should be. And then there's also a number out there, like you can call in the National Fuel Surcharge Hotline. It's a real thing. I use it in my brokerage, and it gives you like what the national average is for the week in like a cents. You like per like 50 cents or 60 cents or whatever that looks like to help you price out what that is per mile. And yeah, you guys just Google that, get that number out there, and that's just going to help you become more effective in your pricing. It's going to make you more beneficial out there. Zach Lonergan, good morning, gang. Let's do a little market update. I think that, it seems like we got some serious late season produce happening right now. And I brought this up. So, obviously I partnered with Green Screens. Not only are they a supporter of the show, but I actually use their product inside of my brokerage, and their tool is helping me win more freight due to it's identifying these trends earlier, right? I think that as, and especially, if you're out there running a contract, that's one thing that you're keeping your price consistent. But a lot of businesses ran spot market. A lot of those new opportunities are ran on the spot market. And what I love the most about what Green Screen does is it identifies the price increase way before other tools that I've used in my past. So it's like seeing how this market is trending. I mean, just out of Nogales, Arizona, going to Los Angeles, California. I pulled Arizona because I fucking live in Arizona, but that's a very hot market. And we were talking about that out there where there's like 10 loads to one truck, and you see this increasing. So this is going to help you accurately price this freight to your customer first and foremost, so you can compensate your carriers properly at market or above market, however you want to do that. But again, it's going to help you not be left holding the bag so many times. I mean, I know I've made those pricing errors early on in my career where I bid it out and then it turned out that the market flipped, and then I had to go out there and I don't believe in going back to customers for more money on freight. And, I paid an extra $500-600 out of pocket to move those loads. But like being able to identify a lot of this stuff within Green Screens is so crucial to you as you're out there building your book of business or even running your established business. There's a ton of value out there. Cause I mean, just in this lane alone, in the last 15 days from, Nogales going into LA, over this last 3 weeks, it's raised 24 cents a mile on the rate, 24 cents a mile. If you're not getting ahead of some of these price changes out there, you're going to lose out on a ton of opportunity. And again, you guys, like we got to learn how to read freight markets, because this in particular, this year, you will start seeing very seasonal freight. All right, you will see seasonal freight spikes in rates and everything else. And I'm already seeing it out there in the flatbed world because, again, Freight Coach Logistics, we specialize in open deck and heavy haul. That's all we do. We're the best in the country at it. And I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that the lanes that we have been moving, the demand's going up on it from a pricing perspective. So I'm personally seeing at my office or in my company right now, rates are starting to increase in the open deck world. The people that I'm talking to, who specialize in other commodities out there, they're starting to see those rates increase out there on the carrier side. And that's great. I want to see rates increase. I want to see people fucking make money at the end of the day, but you need to be aligned to be able to identify a lot of this stuff. So for me, obviously hit them up, you guys, greenscreens.ai/the freight coach. If you want to support your boy, go over there, or if you just want to reach out to him and talk to him, just let him know that the freight coach sent you. It's something that I'm personally using, and I'm winning more and more business with this because I'm able to predict sooner where these markets are going to trend, you guys. And then as you're really establishing yourself with your customers out there, price is everything right away. I say, you guys might hear me say price is secondary in time. And what I mean by that is after you service them for a trial period, whatever that looks like, the price does become secondary because they know your execution is worth the additional money. But it's like, as you're getting in the door, price is everything, right? So it's like, you have to have the right data. And that's the most part, that lagging data, or there's other data providers that are out there that their test subjects only come from large enterprise pricing. And that doesn't fucking help you out if you're a one-person operation or a smaller operation, because you can't compete with that, right? You can't compete with that at all. All right, so we got the fuel report, which I'm gonna try and remember to do that. I've been kind of dropping the ball on the fuel rates and everything, because I did do that for a very long time, but I kind of dropped the ball on that. All right, let's break down some articles, ladies and gentlemen. As always, the links to these articles that I break down, I put them up over on the Freight Coach YouTube channel, as well as I put them in the show notes of the iTunes and Spotify Coffee with the Freight Coach audio only replay of this. And let me see here. The first article I want to break down and is going to be from ttnews.com. Supreme Court rules against truck drivers who walked off job. Workers went on strike while trucks were full of wet concrete. In a dispute about the pressure that organized labor can exert during a strike, the Supreme Court ruled June 1st against unionized drivers who walked off the job while their trucks were full of wet concrete. The decisions united liberal and conservative justices in labor's latest loss at the High Court. The lone dissenter in the case, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, said the ruling would hinder the development of labor law and erode the right to strike. Justice Amy Coney Barrett, writing for the majority, said the union failed to take reasonable precautions to protect the company's concrete when the drivers went on strike. Barrett wrote that the drivers for Washington State-based Glacier Northwest quit work suddenly, putting the company's property in foreseeable and imminent danger. The union actions not only resulted in the destruction of all the concrete Glacier had prepared that day, they also posed a risk for foreseeable, aggravated, and imminent harm to Glacier's trucks. And let me see, Barrett wrote in a decision joined by 4 other justices. 3 more justices agreed that the outcome in the case, but did not join Barrett's opinion. In 2018, the court's conservative majority overturned a decades-old pro-union decision involving fees paid by government workers. More recently, the justices in California, giving unions access to farm property so they could organize workers. Justice Samuel Alito wrote in a separate opinion in the Washington State case that the federal National Labor Relations Act protects the right to strike, but with limits. He said it does not protect striking employees who engage in these type of conduct alleged here. In her dissent, Jackson wrote, workers are not indentured servants bound to continued labor until any planned work stoppage would be as painless as possible for their master. And the case stemmed from contract negotiations in 2017 between Glacier Northwest and the local Teamsters unions representing the drivers. When negotiations broke down, the union called for a strike. Drivers walked off the job while their trucks were full of concrete, which must be used quickly and can damage the trucks if it's not. Glacier says the union timed the strike to create chaos and inflict damage. Glacier not only had to dump the concrete, but also pay for the wasted concrete to be broken up and hauled away. And then this is the thing. I fully stand with people's rights to protest and people's rights to, peacefully protest and assemble and all of that stuff. But it seems that in some of these cases, again, I'm not the biggest pro-union person out there at all. If you followed my content or if you've heard me break a lot of this stuff down, I think it's fucking thievery at its finest. It's comical that some of these unions that are out there are campaigning on getting people paid time off after these employees pay in thousands of dollars of dues every single year, and like nothing gets done, yet the union leaders are flying around private, eating steak dinners and getting fancy hotels and all that shit at whose expense? At the expense of the worker. So it's the irony of unionized labor and what they fight for, yet what the elected union members actually do is just fucking insane to me. And, you know, the fact of the matter is it's like, if you are going to do something, if you are going to prove a point in this, and again, I agree with what one of the justices wrote there, is it's like, you specifically waited until the trucks were loaded with wet concrete, went to a job site, and then walked off the job. That intentionally caused damage. Like, you didn't just get like all the trucks to show up at the job site, then get a phone call from the union and be like, all right, guys, now's the time. That was fucking planned, right? That was planned. And then at what? Like, the union doesn't have to pay for it. So who cares, right? The company has to pay for it in that perspective. And that's my biggest thing is that I'm against is like, these unions are pulling strings with workers of businesses, right? And who's left paying for all that stuff? And yeah, I get it. The workers' rights. I'm not ignorant, you guys. Like, I did go to public school, but I do know the benefits of some of the unions that are out there. But it seems like you don't really see a lot of the good side of it. It seems like it's a lot of them telling companies how they're going to operate. And I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of it at the end of the day. Let me see here. And, when you see a lot of this stuff get to the Supreme Court and see where it is, like, as a business owner myself, I'm just like, all right, they're ruling in the favor of the business here, because again, it's like, if you're going to do anything, be smart about it, right? Like, don't cause intentional destruction to anything. And that's what it seems that, let me see. So hold on. It says lawyers for the union had said that in this case, the drivers were instructed to be conscientious when they walked off the job, to bring their full truck back to Glacier's facility and to leave the truck's mixing drums spinning so the concrete would not immediately begin to harden. Barrett said the argument wasn't persuasive, that the drivers' return to the trucks, the Glacier's facility, does not do much for the union. Refraining from stealing an employer's vehicle does not demonstrate that one took reasonable precautions. And then in a statement, Glacier's lawyer said the decision vindicates the longstanding principle that federal law does not shield labor unions when they are intentionally destroy an employer's property. Let me say, and then obviously the Teamsters came out and said it's a shameful ruling and one reminder that the American people cannot rely on their government or the courts to protect them. They cannot rely on their employers. We must rely on each other. We must engage in organized collective action. We can only rely on the protections inherent of the power of our unions. I agree with the first part of their statement. I don't agree with the last part of the statement, because essentially they're trying to formulate their own government, which is, again, the irony of that statement. But I digress. Anyways, you guys, that's one of those articles. It's, again, you got to know what you're getting into and what you're signing up for. ttnews.com, Supreme Court rules against truck drivers who walked off job. Yeah, here's another good one. And this is another one that is, excuse me, my computer just froze up. This is another hot topic. And this is also from TT News. And it's ATRI assesses impact of marijuana use on trucking. More than 100,000 truck drivers have been removed from the industry in the past 3 years due to positive marijuana tests, and most have not returned. ATRI released its report's impact of marijuana legalization on the trucking industry on June 5th in response to concerns about the increasing use of marijuana by truck drivers, largely believed due to be the recreational legalization of pot in 23 states. In all likelihood, more states will move in this direction since the majority of Americans support legalization. I support legalization of it. I'll just come out there and say it right now. I don't think it should be illegal by any stretch of the imagination, but I also think that there needs to be standards in place. I guess, it's like, I look at it like this, and I've had a couple of attorneys on the show about this, but it's just like, what is if they know that 0.08 is the legal limit, again, as a CDL holder, it's 0.04 is the legal limit for your BAC, blood alcohol. When it comes to alcohol, I think that what they're going to have to do is come up with something or some form of standardized test that shows the impairment level of it that comes along with marijuana usage as more and more states legalize it, right? So, it's going to be interesting to see kind of where this progresses as things go. Let me see here. Based on the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse data, marijuana use has clearly has an impact on the availability of truck drivers. Data confirms that most have not completed the return to work process that's out there. Furthermore, truck drivers who do not return to duty may still find it difficult to find truck driving employment based on carrier survey data. The mean wage for heavy duty truck driving is currently at $50,000, but only 42. That is fucking pathetic. 50 grand a year is the mean wage for a heavy duty truck driver out there. I don't know if marijuana is the problem here, you guys. I would kind of argue that paying somebody 50 grand a year to be gone as long as these drivers are is probably the biggest issue, which we've talked about on here, that amongst truck parking. Let me see here. Yeah, the ATRI analysis also documents the strategies and implications of the two pathways the federal government can take in response to advancing legalization efforts that are out there. And then this goes on to the pathway of maintaining the current prohibition policy. The second pathway, a scenario in which the federal government eases restrictions. I think that, let me see here. There's a lot of good information inside of this article. The impacts of marijuana also include impairment coordination, disorder. The report maintained that there should be that the federal government maintain current marijuana laws. That the trucking industry will continue to have thousands of drivers annually placed in prohibited status. And will lose many other occupations that, ultimately this puts pressure on the availability of CDL drivers. Again, I think that what you're seeing there is not, I don't think that what you're seeing, I think that, yes, people leaving the industry due to, marijuana positive tests is a thing. Yes. But I also think that that one little stat that they didn't want to talk about, that they kind of briefly put in there about the $50K a year salary, I think that has a lot to do with it. That's not everybody, right? Like that's the mean. It's not everybody. I know that there's people out there who make more money than that. But again, it's like if we're looking at this as a whole, I think that, as more and more states legalize it, I think we're going to have to take a comprehensive look at it entirely and what it will do. And there has to be, I think as an entrepreneur, my brain instantly goes to, there's a opportunity out here to create a more efficient test that could be administered on the side of the freeway, and whatever that looks like, because I think that this is not going to go away. This is going to continue to persist. So I think if you're an entrepreneur out there and you're involved in the cannabis industry or, whatever industry involved in here, there's an opportunity for you to create something to test this to where, as more states legalize it, that drivers who are using it recreationally, speaking, of course, that they're able to keep their job and it doesn't show impairment at certain levels. Zach Lonergan goes out and says cannabis should be at least decriminalized. The therapeutic effect outweighs the dangers. It's a far better option than opioids. Yeah, and that's funny you bring that up, Zach, the opioids versus cannabis. Because I agree with that, man. How many people out there, like Big Pharma is fucking not regulated at all. Let's call that what it is. But again, how many drivers out there are on pain pills and other pills that are impairing other things? And it's not just drivers, right? Like it's just the overall public. So I think that there is something that should be looked at as a whole. You need to look at it because I would argue opioids are a hell of a lot more dangerous than marijuana usage. This is just my personal opinion on it. No, I'm not a doctor. But as somebody who has had to deal with shit in life, I know which one was a fuckload more dangerous to me than the other. So yeah, I would, that article came from TT News. And again, I'm not, at the end of the day, I'm to each their own on this regard, but there's going to be some changes coming with that for sure. So it's going to be interesting to see how a lot of that all comes about. The third and final article that we are going to break down is from the JOC. let me see, the freight coach MD. No, absolutely not. No, do not take any medical advice from fucking me at all. Yeah, David Nelson says, if anyone needs weed, it's the truck drivers to deal with this crap. Yeah, it's just more and more rules and regulations that are out there for you guys to follow. David, come on, man. Just follow the rules, dude. I'm just fucking with you, man. Third and final article we're going to break down today is it's from the JOC, and then it's ATA urges Congress to reject Sue as labor chief. The top U.S. trucking lobby has joined a growing number of trucking industry members that opposed the Biden administration's nominee for U.S. Secretary of Labor, citing grave concerns over Julie Sue's support for a controversial worker classification. I can barely fucking speak. Worker classification legislation law in California and an unwillingness to address the trucking industry. Chris Spear, president and CEO of the ATA, wrote a letter Friday to Senator Chuck Schumer and Senator Mitch McConnell and said that Sue has failed to explain to the industry how she would handle classification legislation on a federal level. The ATA pointed to how Sue, nominated by Biden in February, supports AB 5 when she was California's labor chief, a bill that effectively outlawed the state's owner-operator business model. Let me see here. Our nation's truckers cannot support her elevation to that position, given her demonstrated willingness to eliminate the independent contractor business model and throw supply chains into chaos, and her unwillingness to address this matter with the Senate in our industry, Spears said. He cited that more than 90% of motor carriers who move freight today are small business, and that operates a fleet of 6 or fewer trucks. Sue has served as the acting labor secretary since Marty Walsh stepped down earlier this year. Her nomination, heavily pushed by the White House, has seemingly stalled since her April 20th hearing amid public reservations from Senator Joe Manchin and OIDA. I would agree with this. The fact, again, I have stated on this show numerous times, I am vehemently against AB 5. I have stated that I feel that it is fucking communism at its finest, right there. And I still stand by that. I truly do. The government should, it's just fucking bullshit at the end of the day. And to me, yes, it attacks our industry and the owner-operator model, independent contractor model, but how many other industries out there? It is an absolute assault on small business, on small labor, and all the union fucks out there are going to go and say their piece and bang their drum. But again, you guys, this is what happens. And, Sonny Sharma and I were literally talking about this on yesterday's show, that California is the breeding ground for this shit. And voila, it's already in Washington. I know this has been in Washington here for a little bit, but again, it's bullshit. It shouldn't be out there because there's nothing that stops people from writing this in at the federal level. Then what? Depends on the state that you live in at that point and who abides by the Constitution that you guys all know how that stuff works and the structure of the government works. And the federal government should have minimal oversight of how states operates and everything. But again, we're not here to talk politics, you guys. We're just here to talk about how elections have consequences. And if you don't like shit that's being done, get out there and do something about it. Because, the government works for us. I know that it's been kind of twisted here recently, but the government works for us as tax-paying citizens. Because again, if we all stop paying taxes, where's the money going to come from? Nowhere. Anyways, again, back on point here. I stand with Chris Spear and every other organization that is against the nomination of her for this office. And of Julie Sue's appointment, I'm against it. I think it's ridiculous, and that's just fast tracks AB 5 to a federal level, which is a fucking joke. Anyways, that's going to be it for today, you guys. That article is from the JOC. ATA urges Congress to reject Sue as labor chief. But that's going to be it, you guys. That's the 3 articles that we broke down. As always, you guys, thank you so much for coming out and for your support. And if you guys got value in this, subscribe and share the show, whether you're on YouTube or you're catching the audio only replay later on iTunes and Spotify. subscribe and share the show if you got value from this. But that's going to be it for today. We'll be back tomorrow, as always, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central. No, Zach, I'm not. I am not. Okay. Sonny is right. I need more coffee. I need more caffeine. I'm not fucking riled up enough. But anyways, that's going to be it. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon.